As a child, I always wondered about who owned the property next to us. From what I could gather, it belonged to a woman who wanted the country lifestyle. Unfortunately, she was always busy with work, so she rarely visited the property. Because of this, the land would become a wooded forest with a short driveway stretching roughly 1 acre. Since she was never around, me and my siblings decided to explore the far back of her property. Using a shallow river that ran through the two properties, we wandered around out of sheer curiosity. At first, our little adventure was nothing more than a nature walk. It wasn't until we stumbled upon a wall of thorns with spikes 2 inches long. We've never seen anything like this before. Even my brother, who fully explored the properties multiple times, was unaware this was here. Finding a very narrow path, we squeezed our way through. Walking through the twisted path, we were greeted by an old, abandoned house sitting on brick pillars. Drawn to it by sheer curiosity, we had little time to explore before finding its front door wide open. Nearing the door, I felt a bizarre presence surround me. When my brother went in, he wanted me to enter as well, saying it looked like something from a movie and there was nothing to be scared of. But that unknown presence kept me from entering. Seeing my brother explore the inside, I watched him stop in place to examine the kitchen. During that pause, we heard something topple over in the attic. Frightened, I watched my brother dash outside. Playing it off like it was nothing, he immediately said we should go home. Later that evening, I told my mother about the old house in the back of our neighbor's property. She looked puzzled, saying there was no house back there, and that the owner never built one either. My mother didn't touch on the subject again, so, being a kid, I just left it as is. During this time, my brother and I had to share a room. We would usually stay up late watching movies or playing video games. Since it was the middle of fall, we kept the window open to let in the cool air. While we were in the middle of a match, our console froze without a sound. When I reached for the power button, a sharp, ear-shattering scream filled our room. The scream then suddenly flew away. Barely a second had passed before we heard the scream again, only this time, it was at the back of the property. Both my brother and I were absolutely stunned by what happened. Still frightened, my brother closed the window so we couldn't see outside. The moment my mother got home from work, I told her about that awful scream. When she heard this, she brushed it off, saying it was a stray peacock from one of our neighbors. At the time, I took it as truth, although wondering how a peacock could be so fast. However, as an adult, I know peacocks cannot fly 2 acres in the span of 3 seconds. This begs the question, what exactly did my brother and I hear on that frightful night? Was it an animal, or maybe a spirit furious at those unwanted guests entering its home?